So here we are at VIR once again, and we've got some more classic racing coming your way. And I have to say, you've had your favourites. These are mine, Ben Sissel, because I love them. Give me some Mustang, give me some 60s, give me some Corvettes. Particularly love that 05 Corvette of Scott Borchetta's. I know he's the owner of it, but you know, I also watched him race it last night at COTA against Jody O'Donnell, and it was such a cracking race. Yeah,
that was fun, and those guys so equally set up, and they had an absolute blast. I'll tell you a funny story. We're showing the 05 right now. It broke at Road America on Sunday, the engine. Dylan, the mechanic, with Scott Borchetta, they drove back from Road America to Nashville, put the engine in. They said they've slept better here than they did in the last week because so Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, they put a new engine in, rebuilt the rear end, did all the normal maintenance stuff, and then drove here Wednesday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they didn't get much sleep.
Wow. I tell you, it's a tough. It seems very glamorous, this motor racing thing, but it ain't really, is it?
No, but you love it. If you're doing
Absolutely.
it, you love it. So even though you're probably complaining about that, you also love it because it's challenging. It's a lot of fun. There's a time involved. But you were talking about this, so we've got Ford Mustang GTs, a Ford Boss 302 from 1970 with John Cloud, Peter Dolan Mustang GT 350, some Shelby GT 350s in there. One of my favorites that I've got cameras in right now, Gary Moore in the Mercury Cougar, Shelby Mustang Corvettes. Frank Markham is in an AC Cobra. There's a Jaguar E-Type.
Now that seems like the odd one out.
Yeah, there's two E-Types, a Z28, a Porsche 911. And so this is going to be a fun field. There's also a Ford Mustang FR 500. There's that Cougar. You don't see many Cougars racing. There's Scott Borchetta in that big block Corvette. And then Jade Buford, who we saw earlier in the Bill Elliott stock car, is out there in the small block Corvette you call. Oh, more oil dry. Wow. I
know, a lot down the back straight there, as you can see.
Or is it snowing on the back straight?
It could be. We've had every other kind of weather this weekend. Yeah, there's obviously a lot of oil gone down, and I think they're just trying to get rid of some of it by going over it, because obviously that's going to be a real dust cloud on the first lap or so. Yeah, like I said, these are I love these cars. This is the history of Trans Am a little bit, and great to see how these cars are kept so well. I think that's just because I want to own one of these cars. Not that I can afford one, but well, there you go.
Actually, there's a car very similar to that car right there in the front for sale. I saw it in the advertisements in our bathrooms for about $7,800. A race car,
I've
fully
told
prepared race
car. Stop hanging out in bathrooms. That'll get you. You'll end up with a race car before you know where you are. Or in more trouble.
Pace car's in.
Here we go. Pace car's in, and we're racing again in SVRA at VIR. And a host of muscle cars heading for the start.
Green flag.
And a beautiful sound as the green flag waves for the Haycock Classic Gold Cup Group 6 and Group 12A as they roar into action. And the poleman leads them into the horseshoe for the first time. But round the outside goes the 81 and into second place. Or does he slot there, the Mustang? He's trying, he's holding it in, he's keeping his foot in. And he's going to lose out to the 23 of John Cloud. It's been a busy day for John Cloud.
Yeah, John Cloud was with us in the TA2 race in his Camaro, and now here he is in the Boss 302 in second place. Gary Moore looking to the inside.
Ooh, yeah, that's a risky move going into left hook. And he's going to get one if he's not careful.
Yeah, and the funny thing, Gary told me, I was putting cameras on his car, he says, I've never raced at VIR, and the only laps I've ever done here are in downpouring rain. So this is his first time racing at VIR in the dry.
Well, that was a pretty good start. If that's the case, under the bridge they come, through Snake, and up towards the top of the hill at 10. And as you said earlier, that's a really cracking corner. And as you can see, as they come to the crest of that, it's blind almost, and then slides from side to side, and then you go back downhill and into 11 and 12 for Oak Tree, and then down that back straight. We'll see the smoke and dust. It's not smoke, but the dust from the dry oil. Here you go.
So
some avoiding it, some not.
This is Group 6 and Group 12. So just kind of look, you saw that modern Corvette or more modern Corvette or the more modern Mustangs up front. Those are Group 12 cars. And then Group 6 cars are basically, I think, 1972 or older.
That was the 98
cars.
that just
that
got
was
out
Jay
of the pits.
Buford in the BP production.
Now, did he take the start, or is
I
he
don't
just
think
starting
so. I
from
think he's
there?
just going out.
Okay. So down the roller coaster they come, and it is the Griffin car leading the way.
So Jonathan, we have a guest joining us here in a lap. His name is Rick Parent, and he is the head of our tech, and hopefully he's going to be able to answer some questions as we go. Look at this, John Cloud coming to the inside right now of Jeff Lindstrom. Jeff is able to outbrake him. He's got a little bit more modern brakes, but Rick Parent is in charge of all of our tech, and he makes sure and he groups all these cars. We've been talking about the groupings. So, Rick, I know you've built a lot of these American muscle cars, some Penske Camaros, some of the most historic cars. But first, can you explain to us, right now here we've got a Group 12 and a Group 6 car. What are the major differences?
The difference basically between, thanks Ben, the difference between Group 12 and Group 6 is Group 12 is the more modern types of cars that run very well with the Group 6 cars. They're very similar in lap times. They don't look the same because they're newer, but they're obviously in different groups, and it puts on a good show.
So I'm going to put you on the spot like we used to do Rick's picks. If you look at this field right here, who are some of your favorite drivers, or well, actually not drivers, what are your favorite cars in this field?
Oh, they're all my favorite.
No, you can't say that. Come on now.
Gary Moore is driving a Cougar this
That's
weekend.
my favorite.
And he drives the heck out of that thing. He used to drive a GT350 and still has that, but is enjoying this a lot more. And his comment about this car is it's 2 inches longer and it handles completely different, but he's doing better and faster in this than he was in his GT350. So that's kind of cool.
That is cool. So there's Ray Zisa, right, in the yellow Corvette. So what delineates that is a Group 12 just because it's a more modern car than like that Mustang right there?
That's correct. That he's driving an old Motorola Cup car. And the Group 12 rules basically say that you have to have your car prepared as it was in that particular period of time. So it's not a full-on race motor. They're more stock, but it is a race car. So it fits in well with this group, like I said.
And there's Scott Hackinson's old car right there, and that's Brian Dolan, and it's still in the Cobra thing. So, Scott, we miss you, but I love seeing Brian Dolan out here still staying with Cobra. And look at that, John Cloud is he now in first, but just getting past? And do we know, is that John Cloud or is that Wally Dallenbach?
I don't know who's in the car.
Yeah, so when we say Wally Dallenbach, we mean the Wally Dallenbach. They go back and forth in that car, and really just for fun. John loves having him in there.
Yeah, John drives the wheels off that thing. For an old guy, he does really good.
Yeah, he does. And then there's Scott Borchetta. I was telling the story about Scott. They had to basically rebuild, or they put a new engine in. They had a spare engine in their shop Monday, Tuesday. They put a new engine in, and so there he is in the 05 Corvette. And I know you've worked a lot with them. So tell us a little bit about when somebody like Scott Borchetta or any driver calls and says, can I do this? Can I not do this? What can I do? And you're constantly making sure they're staying within the rules. Explain some of those conversations.
Well, with Scott, when he showed up, knew nothing about him, didn't know who he was. He just had a Corvette, and he was asking all the right questions on car preparation. And that does everything, because he didn't want to spend his money inappropriately, because nobody likes to spend their money and go backwards, have to redo things. So him and his crew have done a fabulous job of preparing both of those cars to the rules perfectly. And he spent the time and effort and learned how to drive it, and I suspect he'll be up there at the front shortly.
Yeah, well, he just took second place over John Cloud. Phil Lasco is in first place right now, and Phil is in the Group 12 GT. He also races with us in TA2, but there's a shot of Phil Lasco right there coming over. And so, like, what race group would this have raced in its day? I don't know either. But you know, it's one of the hardest parts of your job. Like I look at like Trans Am as a series. If you're the tech person for Trans Am, you only have 5 groups of cars to tech. You have 70 years of cars in, let's say, 15 to 20 different race groups and classes and sanctioning bodies, and you have to figure out where they all fit. That's got to be impossible.
It's true. It's true. You know, a lot of the groupings that we've had have been around for 30 years. So they're pretty standard. Everybody knows what the rules are. But bringing the new cars into SVRA, like Phil's car here, we have to do the research. We have to know where it ran, under what specifications, and the car has to be ran in those specifications, because once a Group 12 car gets over-modified, it goes to Group 10, where you really don't want to be with one of those cars.
See, that's good advice right there. So if you're looking at building a vintage race car, buying a vintage race car, the best thing to do is make sure it's already set up per the rules, or call the tech inspector first, because he will save you a ton of time and a ton of money in making sure the car is set up right, just like Scott Borchetta's team did. And that way, you're never going to be put into the wrong group, because if you set it up to the rules, you're going to be having a lot more fun racing, probably spending less money. That's smoke.
That's oil. That's oil for sure.
Well, there was oil. No, that's oil, yeah. Scott Borchetta may close in on Phil Lasco here. It looks like he's burning a little oil, doesn't it?
He needs to get offline or something there before something bad happens. We've had too much oil on the track today.
Yeah. I don't know. All right,
And
so let's call it, Rick. This is the last lap. Is Scott Borchetta going to catch him?
I believe he just has,
yes. He's getting up to him. Coming up over the roller coaster, turn 14 right there. More smoke out of the car.
Good.
He's putting smoke into, that was tire smoke. He's putting smoke into Scott Borchetta's windshield. Scott should have the power to out-drag him here. Let's see what he can do here. So that's Phil Lasco right there in the red Mustang, followed by the little red Corvette of Scott Borchetta coming to the last turn. Hog pin down the last straight. I think Lasco might have him.
Yeah, yep.
Checkered flag is out.
Boy,
Phil Lasco takes it Group 12. Scott Borchetta wins in Group 6. So, Rick, will you come back tomorrow and explain another group with us?
I'd be glad to.
Awesome. Thank you very much. That's Rick Parent, ladies and gentlemen. And if you want to set up your car, you can go on our website, svra.com, and you'll find Rick's email there. But before you set up a car or consider buying a vintage race car, talk to Rick Parent, and he will save you time, money, and a lot of grief. So Rick Parent at svra.com, and find his email, all of his contact information there, and he will make you happy. Thanks, Rick. So Phil Lasco takes the lead, but may not be in the race tomorrow, because I think he's got some possible catastrophic engine problems. Scott Borchetta almost took him, didn't he, Jonathan?
Not far off, and I tell you what, one more lap would have been enough.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So we have the Miatas coming up, and that will end day one of what has been an enthralling day. In many ways, we had some long races with Trans Am, some shorter races because of that with SVRA, but it doesn't matter. It's still good entertainment, and Phil Lasco confirming that the Ford Mustang did just beat the Chevrolet Corvette of Scott Borchetta. John Cloud, with a busy day in the Ford Boss 302, takes third ahead of Brian Dolan, Jeff Lindstrom, Gary Moore, Peter Dolan, Hugh Boucher, and Ray Zizza, I should say, and Charlie Dolan rounding out the top 10 in the Shelby Mustang. So great stuff. That concludes our Group 6 and Group 12A feature race 1. They'll be in action again tomorrow. So stay with us. And we have one more race to bring you this afternoon here from VIR. And in a moment, that race will be the Miata Heritage Cup.